This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and today is my special guest. I have a diva or female wrestler, ladies wrestler, whatever you want to call them these days. She has competed for Impact Wrestling, and tomorrow night on the NWA United Wrestling Network pay-per-view, which you can buy, by the way, through the link in the description of this video. It's also posted to the top of the comments. She's taking on Vipress. Lacey Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Excellent. Are you ready for this match tomorrow? It's a big night for you. Oh, you're freezing up a bit. We lost you for a second.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your video is a little slow. Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we lost you right when I asked you that question.
Yeah. But just to get back onto the question, I am ready. I've been training for the touring and everything, and with guys Damian Drake and Matt Griffin, they've been both helping me expand my arsenal and everything. So I'm definitely ready to take her on.
And for those that don't know, I don't know much about Vipress. She looks like a vampire-style character. It looks like she'll probably be the heel in that match. Yes, have you dealt with her before?
Once before at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I'm doing my best of 7 series with Heather Monroe, and she took a spot from one of the matches, and we had a great time in that ring. I'm looking forward to do it again tomorrow.
Now, is this your first time on one of the United Wrestling Network pay-per-views?
Yes, yeah, it is. I'm very, very excited. So I'm glad that they are having me on tomorrow.
Did you play any sports before you got into the wrestling business?
Well, I did baseball for most of my childhood. I played shortstop mainly, and I did a little bit of basketball, a little bit of flag football. So, throughout my childhood, always played sports, but I've always been into wrestling, and this is something that I've always wanted to do.
I know you live in California now. Did you always live in that state?
Well, I'm actually living in Las Vegas right now. So born and raised in California, Inland Empire area, moved around a lot. Moved down to Utah for a little bit where I started my wrestling career. Ended up moving down to Texas as well, did some stuff down there, and then Tom Howard and I decided to move down to Las Vegas, Nevada, where I met had me, he opened his Full Up with Open Arms at Future Stars Wrestling. I've been training there ever since. Been there for about a year now.
Now, Tom Howard, for those that don't know, I think he's your boyfriend, but he's also your trainer, and he was the trainer of many WWE stars over the years as he worked at Rick Bassman's UPW school as a trainer, right?
I'm losing you there. Can you say it one more time?
I was just saying, for those that don't know, Tom Howard, he was your trainer, but he also was the head trainer at Rick Bassman's UPW development territory, right?
Yes, correct. That's correct. Yeah. He was down there at UPW for some time, helped train Samoa Joe, John Cena, Frank Kazarian, a lot of people like that, and did a lot of stuff down in Japan as well, But yeah, he was one of the main trainers at UPW with Rick Bassman.
Yeah, he also did some fighting over there in Japan against some pretty crazy opponents. He really earned his money in some of those.
Yeah, yes, he did. I tell him probably not enough with some of the beat-ups that he had over there.
I think I recall that one match he had against that giant 7-foot guy where he took a
Yes.
knee
Yeah.
and he's lucky to survive.
Yeah, he always talks about that one. He has that photo of him getting the knee right to his face on his phone, and anytime he could show somebody it, he shows it right away.
So
Any chance he,
did you meet
yeah.
him out of pro wrestling
Scary
training, or did
moment
you
though.
guys?
Every time he shows me, I get a little gross out.
Yeah, for those that haven't seen it, I highly suggest look it up if you're
Yeah,
an
so
MMA
he
fan.
moved down to Salt Lake City. Check that video out.
Sorry, we lost you for another second. You were saying you moved down to
Hello?
Salt Lake City.
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I can
I
hear
don't know
you.
what's
She's cutting out a bit, guys. Now I think you're back on.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. I have no idea what's going on.
It's okay. We can hear you now. Your traps are huge, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Tom's always telling me I need to build them up to protect my head, so that's exactly what I'm doing.
So how did you meet him, and what are some of the things he taught you in your training that you use quite often?
In training, everything I know, really. The kicks and everything, anything high flying, he's the one that's taught me all of it. We met down in Salt Lake City, Utah, at a school called UCW0. He moved down there, and his son wanted to actually wrestle as well. They were planning on going down to Japan to wrestle together, do like a father-son duo, and looking for a school. They came in, and I was training at that time, and met him right then and there. And from there, the rest is history. He's been my trainer ever since, and I have him critique every single match of mine, and I have him critique any new move that I think of, or any new spot, or anything related to wrestling. I go through him and see what he thinks.
And how long have you actually been wrestling for now?
Going on 8 years now.
8 years, okay.
Yeah, so between Utah, Texas, and Vegas, 8 years, and then I've done some jiu-jitsu as well.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, for the fans that haven't seen much of you, what are some matches that are maybe free online that you would suggest people look up?
As of right now, my favorite one is with Tessa Blanchard. I definitely say go and check that one out. Jordan Grace is a fun one to watch, as well as Kira Hogan. Maserati, and I have some fun matches as well. And definitely check out Heather Monroe and I the best of 7 series together on YouTube, as you can find that on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. They're all great matches and fun to watch.
And when you wrestled for Impact, was that at some of their Las Vegas tapings?
Yes. Yeah, I was down at Sam's Town, the casino over there.
Okay. How was that experience?
Oh, it was a blast. It was my first time doing anything like that. So it was all a fun experience, and I had a great time with them.
What are some of the companies that you follow? Do you watch all of them, or is there a couple that you follow in particular?
As of right now, AEW is the main one that I follow, as well as WWE. I'm having some big hopes with AEW. That's where I want to go right now.
And as far as Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, they're part of the United Wrestling Network, which, of course, is putting on this pay-per-view tomorrow night. They're doing weekly pay-per-views now. When did you start working for them, and how's your experience been with them so far?
Gosh, a photo just popped up on Facebook saying that it's been a year since my debut at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which is so crazy to think about. Time really does fly. But yeah, I've been wrestling with them for a year, and I've been loving every second that I'm there. They're great people. It feels like a family over there, and they're all just fun, amazing people down there.
Sean Wood is a fan commenting on here that you have nice abs. They definitely stand out in your pictures. Any tips for abs? Is it all diet, or do you do specific training to get cut like that?
No, it's all diet. That's all it is. I'm doing something right now called the vertical diet, where it's pretty much rice, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, and then, proteins are eggs, steak, mainly steak. I'm not a big fan of chicken, so I stick with lean steak as much as possible. And that's literally all I have throughout the day. And then, of course, a protein shake right after a workout. But, I'm on it to where I'm eating every 3 hours. I'm making sure I'm giving my body the fuel that it needs.
And as far as your workouts, you just work out once a day, or are you doing multiple workouts a day?
I'm doing multiple. So I wake up in the morning, I do some intermittent fasting, as well as cardio. So nothing on my system, just running, waking first thing in the morning and doing cardio right there. And then I'll come back home, eat, and then I go straight to the gym and do some strength training, you know, eat right after that, and then go to wrestling for about 3, 4 hours. So I'm literally being active about 5 to 8 hours a day.
Who are you training with now for wrestling in Las Vegas?
Right now it's at Future Stars Wrestling. I'm training with Sim Bodie. He's one of my main trainers down there, as well as D'Lo. But my two main training partners down there, actually three now, because he actually just moved back from Florida. Jay Vidal, Matt Vandegrift, and Brett Hyde, which I would recommend everybody go watch them because they're just amazing athletes.
And how is the wrestling scene there now with the lockdown? I'm guessing there's probably not a lot of indie shows going on.
No, sadly, not too much, but they're starting to come back slowly. We could have small groups, which is exactly what we're doing, but it's Joe DeFacco is doing a great job with how he's handling everything, and we're starting to get things back on track. So I'm very excited to get back out there and start wrestling again.
Sean is asking if you've ever wrestled up here in Canada.
I have not, but I would absolutely love to do that. It's on my bucket list.
And you mentioned one of your favorite matches was with Tessa Blanchard. Where would you guess she's going to end up if you had to pick? She's probably the hottest free agent right now for female.
Definitely the hottest free agent right now. I mean, my two choices would either be AEW or WWE. I would say WWE because that's, I could see her really growing there and doing a bunch of amazing things down there.
And as far as wrestlers you grew up watching, could you tell us about some of your heroes growing up?
Yeah. So Eddie Guerrero is a huge one. A lot of things that I do are because of the way I watched him move in the ring. Chris Benoit as well, and then The Rock, Trish Stratus, Victoria. China's a good one. It's a bunch of different people that I really enjoyed watching.
Did you ever meet any of those famous wrestlers that you grew up watching?
No, I did not. I wish I did, but someday.
How have you found the locker room so far? Has everyone been pretty good to you? Because we always hear about sometimes there can be a lot of politicking and backstabbing in wrestling.
I haven't ran into anything like that. My experience in the locker room has been amazing. So I love every second that I'm in that locker room.
Your pictures make you look like a baby face, so I'm going to guess you're usually a baby face. Would that be correct? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Is that just more natural for you? You look like the girl next door, I guess.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Yeah, I guess so. I kind of have something called, RBF, resting bitch face, so people tend to think that I'm more a heel when they first meet me. But when I'm in the ring, it's all smiles. I'm just having tons of fun in that ring. So I guess when I'm in that ring, it just comes off more as a baby face.
Steve is asking who your dream opponent would be.
Ooh, my dream opponents. I've been saying I've been really wanting to wrestle Victoria. I was a big fan of hers growing up, and I would love to get in the ring with her and mix things up.
Well, I've heard a rumor they're looking at her for the NWA United Wrestling Network pay-per-views, so Maybe you'll be lucky and that'll happen.
Maybe. Fingers crossed. I would love to do that.
Wrestler wants to know your take on intergender wrestling.
I love it. It's one of my favorites. Anytime I'm in the ring with the man, it's very fun. They push me to my limits, and that's some of my favorite matches as well. If you go back and watch some of the stuff that I did with some of the guys, we just have a great time. I think it's a fun thing to do. It's fun to mix things up. You know, there are certain things that I could do with guys that I can't necessarily always do with girls because I'm a bigger girl in person. You know, I have more muscle mass. So I do a lot more of the high flying stuff when I'm in there with the guys.
We've heard Lance Storm say that he's against intergender matches because of some of this speaking out stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had anything weird happen with you? I'm guessing not, because you already go out with a wrestler and you're kind of like a bodybuilding girl, so you don't seem like the typical girl that guys would want to mess with backstage.
No, yeah, I definitely have not had any experiences like that. You know, I've had nothing but good experiences with intergender wrestling.
Chris Lee wants to know when you decided you were actually going to become a wrestler. What made you actually jump into it?
You know, that's something. It's not like I have an actual match that I watched. I've always known that I wanted to become a wrestler. You know, I grew up watching it all the time. Forced my mom to make sure that I'm home to watch WWE Raw and SmackDown, and if I couldn't be home, I would record it. I mean, I was really obsessed with wrestling, so I knew that's what I've always wanted to do. So after high school, I knew I had to make it come true. You know, there were no questions about it.
Now, this is a little unusual question from Sean, but we do cover some UFO stuff on this channel. He's wondering what your take on UFOs are.
I definitely think they're out there. You know, to think that humans are the only ones in the universe is it's pretty crazy thought to think that we could be the only things out there, you know? So I think UFOs exist, and I think there's aliens and different life forms.
Josh thinks you would do well in a She-Hulk movie. The fans on here always want to know the best bench press, squat, and deadlift. Could you share what yours are?
Last week, my bench press was at 150, if I remember. I'm going to try to get it up to 155, 160 this week. We'll see how that goes. As far as squatting, I don't really squat too much. You know, I want to save the knees as much as possible. And deadlifting, you know, I've never really actually tried my 1-rep deadlift. I do legs once a week, but I hate it. You know, it's not my favorite thing to do. So I force myself into it. But chest, I could do all the time.
Yeah, I think almost everybody is like that with legs because it's such a draining body part.
Yes, it is. It really takes a lot out of you.
Did you kind of teach yourself about how to develop this physique that you have? Or did you have personal trainers along the way, or did you study it in college or anything like that?
So once I was done with high school, I was a little chubby, you know. So once I moved with my mom in Utah to start college down there, my stepdad used to he was really big into bodybuilding. So I started off asking him questions, and he helped write me up a diet plan and showed me how to do certain movements. So he gave me the base for everything. And then Tom Howard actually really helped me grow a lot more in that area as far as how to manipulate your body and how to get it to where you want it to go. And I also did study. I'm a certified personal trainer as well. You know, that's something that I used to do on the side.
Do you still work a regular job on the side to make ends meet?
No, right now I'm just completely 100% committed to wrestling.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
How would you describe your style to someone that hasn't seen you wrestle?
You know, it's a mix. I do some brawling. I do some high flying. I do a lot of kicks. It's just more of aggressive style, and I try to just make it really look like a fight. That's my number one goal. You know, yeah, we're having fun and we're fighting in there, but I want to make sure it looks real. I want to make sure that people believe it when I'm in that ring.
There's a fan that's wondering what your favorite match and promo are of any wrestler you've seen.
Match. I do really love Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero when Eddie Guerrero won the belt. As far as promo, I don't know if I have a favorite one, but my favorite people to listen to, are John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and even Eddie Guerrero. Not just his promos, but when you go back and watch his facials, I mean, he was just amazing in that ring.
Sean Shamrock is asking if you have a vision of where you want yourself to be in 10 years.
10 years, definitely at WWE at that point. Hopefully one of the top wrestlers at WWE. That's my main goal.
Manny, the landscaper, wants to know if you've ever thought about pro bodybuilding.
No, I have thought about doing a competition. Never thought about becoming a professional bodybuilder. The things that they do, it's amazing. I don't think I could ever get my body to that level.
Dakari wants to know if you have anything that gets under your skin, and also where can people buy your merch?
I think everybody has stuff that gets under people's skin. That's a hard one to answer. I don't have one particular thing, but we all have our days where that kind of thing happens. As of right now, I am trying to design merch for myself. I do have an account at Pro Wrestling Tees. I just need to get a few things up for designs. But once I'm at shows and stuff, 8x10s I have, just got to get those T-shirts up there.
Sean says, with all the wrestlers that play video games now, are you also into video games?
I was. Yes, I used to be. I just don't have the time to actually play video games anymore. I really wish that I did have the time for it because it is a lot of fun to do it. But no, as of right now, I am not.
Sam is wondering what your thoughts on kayfabe is now. We don't see it very much in the business anymore.
No, definitely don't see it very much in the business anymore. For my time as a wrestler, kayfabe hasn't really been around, so I'm okay with it, with people just wanting to play the way they want to play it. If they want to stay kayfabe the whole time, great. If you don't, that's fine too.
Isban wants to know if you ever met Alundra Blaze / Medusa.
No, I have not. Would love to meet her though.
A lot of people say she's very nice, and also, of course, she was in the WWE Hall of Fame, so one of the best.
Yeah, I would love to meet her.
Someone else is asking, what is your favorite video game?
As a kid, I would stay up all night playing the WWE 2K video games. I'd get it the day they would come out and stay up the whole time until it's done. That was my favorite one.
And as far as the best advice that you've received from Tom, what has it been so far?
As far as just wrestling?
Yes. Make
sure you go in there and make it look real. That's the best advice that he's given me, because that's the way I like things to look. If anything goes awry, just take over and make sure that you have a handle on things.
Who do you think the best woman wrestler in the business is right now?
Right now? Man. Charlotte Flair is definitely one of the best. Becky Lynch. There's quite a few women right now that is better than majority of the guys,
Have you had any WWE tryouts yet?
I have not. No, not yet.
And of course, this year they're not really doing them.
No, of course not.
Sean wants to know your thoughts about the Attitude Era and where women's wrestling was at that point compared to now.
Well, the Attitude Era is more about being a diva, having the sex appeal and everything. Well, why I love it so much now is because of the fact that you could be yourself. You don't have to be the sexy diva that WWE wanted you to be. You could be exactly who you are. You could be the badass chick, you know. You could, you know, be like a guy if you wanted to be. Nobody's going to judge you for that anymore. You're an actual wrestler. You're not just a diva. You're a wrestler. You're a superstar.
There's a few fans that have asked on here if you have any road stories you could share.
No, I do not have any roast stories. Sorry.
I guess you're mostly doing short trips too. You haven't really been on tour yet, have you?
Yeah, no, I haven't quite been on tour. I am going to be on Shimmer this weekend. I'm going to be going down there with one of my trainers, Allison Danger. One of my other trainers, cheerleader Melissa. I wish she was coming down, but those two girls have really helped push my game to the next level.
Oh, we actually interviewed cheerleader Melissa on here last week. Do you have anything to share about her? She seems like a really knowledgeable person.
Oh, so much knowledge. I text her every single day asking for any kind of knowledge that she has. I'll send her videos. She's full of knowledge, and I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves.
Dakari is asking if you've had any interactions with Ivelisse or Kylie Ray.
No, I have not. No. Twitter with Kylie Ray, but never actually met either one of them. I would love to wrestle both of them at some point.
Fight Maniacs TV wants to know the craziest thing you have witnessed backstage at a wrestling event.
The craziest thing? I usually stay away from certain things. The craziest thing I would probably say is it was during a match, and it was the first time I was in a locker room. The guy went for a suicide dive and landed his head straight onto the concrete. You could hear the bang, and he comes wandering into the back, forgetting where he's at, pretty much, and then goes right back out and finishes the match, surprisingly. But that's probably the craziest thing I've seen.
Well, they do call them suicide dives for
a reason. Yeah.
Do you do any high flying stuff?
Yeah, I do a lot of springboards, springboard hurricanrana. I've been Matt Vandegrift and Damian Drake have both taught me how to do flips off the top rope, so I've been doing a lot of that. I'm working on a backflip right now. I could land a Phoenix splash. I could do certain dives, but I'm not a big fan of them just because of the head story I just told. It scares me. But yeah, I could definitely mix it up with some high flying stuff.
There's a fan wondering what your favorite wrestling movie is, as well as action movie.
Wrestling movie, The Wrestler actually is a great movie. It's very depressing, but it does kind of show the true side of things, As far as action, I'm not really too big into action movies right now. It's just been more comedy based, but anything The Rock's in, I'm a pretty big fan of. He's a great actor to watch.
What do you think about The Rock's daughter coming into the business? Because I think that could actually really boost women's wrestling once she gets in there, especially if he's going to make some appearances to help get her over.
Oh, yeah, it's exciting that she's gotten into wrestling. A second-generation wrestler is always fun. It will be interesting to see where she goes with it, but it's always fun and exciting to see new people get out there and do it.
You mentioned that you train in jiu-jitsu. How long have you been training in jiu-jitsu? And do you add that type of submissions into your wrestling repertoire?
I do add it into my wrestling from time to time. I did jiu-jitsu for a few years, about two and a half, and I did a few competitions that I've placed in. I was doing it under Chris Brennan in Frisco, Texas. So once I moved away from there, I haven't been really practicing it as much because I've been fully focused on wrestling.
Hell Republic Records is asking, who would you credit with inspiring you to incorporate more high flying offense?
Uh, Rey Mysterio is a big one. I love the way he flies off of those ropes and he's so comfortable with them.
What are your thoughts on everyone's favorite new wrestler, Dominic Mysterio?
I think he's doing a great job. You know, for somebody who just started, he's picking things up quick and it's really fun to watch him.
Excellent. And where can people follow you on social media if they want to look you up on social media?
I have Twitter and Instagram. It's very easy to find me at Lacey Ryan. Just type in my name and I should be the first one to pop up.
Now, I know this wouldn't be a good idea because of how sensitive everyone is these days, but someone's asking you if you would consider starting an internet war with a WWE diva or two for publicity.
No, it's not really my style on certain things. You know, I'm on Twitter and Instagram to promote and show a little bit of what I do on a day-to-day basis. Calling out wrestlers, I feel personally very awkward about doing that. So it's not my thing.
Yeah, and most of these WWE wrestlers have absolutely no say in who they work against. So it's not like they're going to be like going up to Vince McMahon or Triple H saying, this girl's bashing me on Twitter. Can you hire her and give us a match?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Someone's asking if money wasn't a factor. Is there any wrestler in WWE that you'd want to work with in particular? Like if the payoff, for instance, wasn't a factor because you usually get paid more for main event matches. Is there any woman, maybe even on the lower cards, that you'd in particular want to work with?
For WWE?
Yes.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Asuka, I would love to work. I mean, pretty much anybody on that roster, really. They're all great talents.
A fan has a couple questions here. Have you seen any of the Rocky series of movies? And do you have a favorite type of match stipulation?
Sadly, I have not seen the Rocky movies. I do need to go back and watch them. Match stipulations, the few that I did, I did a submission match with Heather Monroe on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which was really fun.
Stephen King Uncut wants to know what you do when you're not wrestling or training. Do you have any hobbies?
I do a little bit of painting, you know, a little bit of drawing, but besides that, my whole day is training and wrestling 7 days a week.
There's another fan that wants to know, would you do an angle with Vince like Trish did back in the day? I guess the more controversial love interest type angle.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider doing something like that, or is there like a line where you would say, this is not part of what I signed up for?
I think that would be the line. You know, I'm in the business for wrestling, you know, and, you know, the storylines are fun, but I want to wrestle.
What did you think about what they did with the whole Rusev and Lana thing, and then they released Rusev after putting him through that?
I thought that was interesting that they did that, you know. It's crazy some of the storylines that they will do, you know.
Yeah. And as far as the big show tomorrow night, as I said before, I have the link in the description. It's also pinned to the top of the comments. It's only $7.99 for people that want to buy it. Or I think you can buy a four show bundle for $23.99 or something. But why would you tell people, why should they buy that pay-per-view to watch this match with you and Vipress tomorrow night?
It's going to be one hell of a match. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be entertaining. And it's probably going to be one of the best matches on the card, if I have to say so myself.
They haven't sent me the rest of the card yet. Do you know some of the other matches?
I do not know. I just know the 4 that they posted.
Which ones could you tell us? Sorry, I don't know the.
I don't remember all of them. I would have to say, yeah, I would have to go back onto Twitter and check.
But for the meantime, the one that's important is you against Vipress.
Yes.
Sean wants to know, since WWE is very gimmick based, have you thought of any other characters other than the character you're doing now for yourself?
No, my main thing is to be me while I'm in that ring and just take it as far as possible. I haven't really thought about any other characters.
How did you come up with your wrestling name?
So I did not come up with it. I had my very first match coming up and I did not have a name yet. So the girls all got together and just started putting names together, and Lacey came up and they're like, Lacey, okay, let's think of what names with Lacey. What about Lacey Ryan? Like, sure. So I need a name. So that's how it got stuck. It just stuck with me ever since then.
Being in California a lot of your life, have you done any acting jobs?
No, I have not. That's on my bucket list, though. I definitely do want to do some acting jobs.
There was a fan on here that mentioned, since WWE is all scripted, have you practiced at all, like reading script in a promo way? Because that's probably what you'd have to do if you were ever signed there.
Once in a while, yes. The trainings that we do, they try to have you do it off, the cusp. But yeah, I've done a few where I'll write them out because, I get inside my own head and I want to know exactly what I'm saying. So yeah, but I don't typically do promos too much. I'm not that great at talking, but I am very good in the ring. I will say that. So I leave my talking to be done in the ring with my wrestling.
Well, for anyone watching this, as I said, the link to get the pay-per-view is right in the description of this video. Josh wishes you good luck. It says to make him proud. To close this off, could you give us a promo on Vipress? I know you said you suck at them, but what a better time to practice. But no.
Yeah. All right. All right. Vipress is very scary. She knows what she's doing in that ring. She's sneaky. But look, I've been training here for 6 months, doing nothing but training, nothing but grinding. So I will be prepared in that ring, and I will leave with my title around my waist. There you go.